marked yet another big acquisition within this space after Blackstone has now chosen to acquire close to 10% stake in the lender. And this comes right on the heels of that mega RBL Bank deal, the deal that we saw in Yes Bank and we saw in IDFC First Bank earlier in the year as well. So what is the buzz surrounding this space? Gaurav is here with the lowdown of all of this. Gaurav.
Well, yes, when we look at the financials, it's actually raining capital is what we can say, because in the Indian financial sector is seeing a massive foreign inflow of over 65,700 crores. Now, that's worth $7.5 billion, and this is in this year itself. Now, it seems the wave of money isn't slowing down anytime soon, because the latest headline, the deal that we saw, is Federal Bank and Blackstone. Now, Blackstone is set to invest around 6,200 crores for 10% stake in the Federal Bank, and this will be through preferential issue of convertible warrants at a price of around 227 rupees per share. Remember, the conversion will also make Blackstone the largest shareholder of the bank, and it's not the latest. When we look at the series of other high-profile bets that we have seen in the year, let's also not forget about the recent amount of money that we have seen flowing in RBL Bank. Now, on 18th of October, Emirates NBD, now that announced a plan to invest up to 26,800 crores. Now, this is around $3 billion for 60% stake in RBL Bank. Now, again, this is through the preferential equity at a price of 280 rupees per share, and this is actually the largest foreign direct investment that India's financial service sector has ever seen, and this will also make Emirates NBD the promoter of the bank. And this is not just going in the banks, but it is also the trend seeing in NBFCs as well. Sanman Capital, for an instance, when we look at the deal earlier this month, Abu Dhabi's IHC, that they committed around 8,850 crores for as much as 41% stake in the company, and at the same time this will also trigger the open offer for mandatory 26%. Now, this is the biggest capital infusion seen by any investor in NBFC, and at the same time with this, IHC is also set to become the promoter of Sanman Capital. Meanwhile, secondary markets, they did not fall behind. When we look at these markets, they are also reshaping the ownership pattern, because when we look at Yes Bank, we recently saw Japan's Sumitomo Mitsui. Now, that is increasing its stake almost to 24.2% after an addition of around 16,300 crores investment through open market in September. Now, that will make SMBC as the largest single foreign shareholder in Yes Bank, but it will not be marked as promoter. But at the same time, private equity firms, they are taking their bets, because let's not forget about IDFC Bank as well. Warburg Pincus invested around 4,876 crores in IDFC First Bank, and at the same time we also saw ADI infusing another 2,600 crores for about 5.1% stake in IDFC First Bank. So whether it's banks, NBFCs, the message is very clear. Global investors, now they're betting big on India's financial story. And the stock price, when we look at the stock price movement also, they are not disappointing. In fact, when we look at some of the stock prices, for the last 6 months, RBL Bank, they have delivered around 60% of the returns for investors. We also have IDFC First Bank, Sanman Capital delivering more than 30% return to the investor. Now, the question is this just a smart capital chasing growth, or the beginning of structural re-rating for India's entire financial sector? Well, whatever the answer is, it is definitely that the investments are telling one thing for sure. Sentiments around Indian financial sectors, they are becoming strong, not by just foreign investors, but also by the domestic investors, by the way that we have seen flows going in banks as well as NBFCs in this year so far.
Thank you, Gaurav, for summarizing that for us. Interesting moves in the financial space. In fact, we'll take this conversation